Hey guys, Metaslave Wolf here with an expensive 20 plus exalt Stormburst build. Big damage, good life, easy to play, uber elder viable. This is completely unnecessarily expensive and the damage can be achieved with different cheaper items. And in fact, I'm not even min-maxed on this build. But since the league is basically ending in just a couple days, I wanted to blow up all of my currency. Initially I wanted to go with the Unnatural Instinct unique jewel, but it would have costed all of my currency that I had, and I wouldn't have anything else left to buy other items. So instead I went with the free Might of the Meek, which I never did before. Which turns out to be not that expensive, it's like, I think I paid 50 chaos each. But the most expensive item in my build is Owl's Uprising unique amulet, which at the moment when I bought it I paid around 10 exalts and now it's over 20 exalts. This amulet basically allows me to reserve another aura, but you actually can do it without this amulet and just get a good crit amulet or physical damage as extra element damage amulet, and the build would end up costing like 4 or 5 exalts only. Now the reworked Stormburst is actually very strong, but it's also a bit unique because increasing skill effect duration improves the damage quite a lot, but I actually didn't really like this part. It works really well when you can face tank the boss or for example against the Shaper, but against Uber Elder when you need to move a lot and you cannot ramp up all the damage, it becomes less effective. Despite not being able to fully ramp up my damage against Uber Elder, I still managed to do it because I just had so much damage, even despite me failing a lot. Another thing about Stormburst is it's not actually really that good for clear speed. You kind of want to supplement it with some kind of explosions like Herald of Ice, Impulsa, exploding weapons or something else. Plus, you want increased AoE for the clear speed, but if you get increased AoE, it also spreads out those orbs even more and it makes it harder to overlap. It same goes like with the Firestorm. The more AoE you get, the less it overlaps. So in fact I have no increased AoE on the passive skill tree. Another quick tip when making Stormburst build is you want skill effect duration to match 0.4 seconds steps. Just to clarify, if you read the last line on Stormburst, it says exploding orbs deal 75% of skill damage for each 0.4 seconds of remaining duration. So for example, either 2 seconds or 2.4 seconds or 2.8 seconds or 3.2 seconds and so on. In my case I got 2.4 seconds breakpoint. And I know people even using skill effect duration support gem. But like I said, I really didn't like this kind of playstyle. I mean, I do like the overall playstyle, but I don't like fighting big bosses which require you to move a lot with this skill. So if I were to make this again, I would probably not focus on so much on skill effect duration and just get more cast speed. By the way, this is Scion, Necromancer, Assassin. And the reason is Necromancer gives skill effect duration, Assassin gives a bit more crit, and of course Scion is very easy to get free Might of the Meeks. I'm gonna talk about Might of the Meeks a bit later when I talk about passive skill tree, but for now, just quickly go over my items. And as always, you can check video description for Pathful Building import code to see full build. So besides Owl's Uprising amulet, I'm also using Crown of the Tyrant helmet, which also costed 3 exalts, but you can replace it with, I believe, Shaped helmet and get some physical or fire damage to spells. But Crown of the Tyrant does give quite a lot of damage and decent amount of life. Now, because I am using Crown of the Tyrant and I cannot have a Pseudo 5 or Pseudo 6 link helmet, I decided to go with the Pseudo 5 link weapon. I crafted this dagger in some previous build. It has a lot of crit chance for spells, more spell damage and crit strike support. So it's like a Pseudo 5 link. And inside it I am using Orb of Storms as a Pseudo 5 link, and Orb of Storms actually does pretty decent damage, especially if you are casting Stormburst inside the AoE of Orb of Storm. Now my body armor is very ordinary, I guess. It does have a lot of life, but other than that, nothing special, and it could be even better. Plus active skill gems or with Arcane Surge. Then I got my favorite gloves, Venomous Weave, Shield, Harbinger Shield, the Uncharted Will, increases the channeling skill damage and summons the Harbinger of Focus. Harbinger of Focus buff gives you damage mitigation basically. It's only 4 seconds and it cannot be increased with skill effect duration, and it has 6-second cooldown. So the shield could be different, like spell damage shield with crit chance, more life. Next, one of the rings, Assassin's Mark on Hit ring. Another ring with lightning damage leech and decent amount of life. Belt with damage and life. Boots, nothing too special, just life, resistance as movement speed. To quickly mention my skills, Stormburst is linked with Feast to Lighting, Infused Channeling, Lighting Penetration, Efficacy, and Arcane Surge level 15. I got Clarity, Hatred, Wrath, linked with Enlighten level 4, but actually you don't need level 4 Enlighten. Orb of Storm in my weapon is linked with Control Destruction and Elemental Focus. For a bit of extra damage I have Cast when Damage Taken linked with Wave of Conviction, which applies Lightning Exposure, which makes enemies lose 25 lightning resistance. Lightning Golem for a bit more cast speed, while Righteous Fire for more damage, which I always forget to use. You may have noticed that I don't have a Quicksilver Flask, but at first I was only using one life flask and the fifth was Quicksilver Flask, but I just could not survive with just one life flask. But that is just me. The main flask is Diamond Flask with the increased critical strike chance during flask effect mod, which you get from the Mastermind fight, which I haven't done a single one this league, so I actually bought this flask. Some flasks to remove chorus and then Aziri's Promise for extra leech and extra damage. Since Storm Burst is actually physical spell converted into lighting, Aziri's Promise like double dips on the damage. It gives physical as extra hairs and then that converted elemental damage as extra hairs. Now let's hop into the passive skill tree. So, Free Might of the Meek. And there are areas where 2 or even 3 of them overlap. Now, what Might of the Meek does is have 50% increased effect of non-keystone passive skills in radius, but notable passive skills in radius grant nothing. So let me just show what these nodes give me. So the life nodes, 3 of them give 10% each, and then the other ones give 7%, and then the biggest one is conveniently outside the range, so it still gives 14% increased life. So the Scion Life Wheel actually gives me 72% increased life. Next, the resistance nodes gives 45% all elemental resistance. Of course, the big Sentinel node gives nothing. Next, let's look at the skill effect duration. The upper one gives 15%, didn't take the last one because it would give nothing. Then the bottom ones give 20% each. So that is 70% increased skill effect duration and another 20% from the Necromancer, so that's 90%. Next, the crit nodes. 37, 37 and 30% crit multiplier. That's like over 100% crit multi for 3 nodes. Well, 4 nodes. It also gives 2 15% spell damage and 20% spell damage node. Cast speed 7%, 7% and 6. And then actually let's not forget about the mana. 20%, 20%, 20% and another 15% mana regen. Why do I keep saying 15? 50% mana regen. And that's actually pretty needed because Storm Burst with a lot of cast speed does cost a lot of mana. Next I got Watcher Side, nothing too expensive like 20, 30, maybe 40 hairs. Brave Watcher Side, but you can use something different like Hatred or Zealotry. Other jewels are a lot of flat life, physical or lightning damage to spells, crit multi, crit chance. By the way, this is level 8 and 9. I am going for another power charge, but I think it's not really worth it, so I would rather take the jewel socket up here. Unless you really don't have a very good crit chance weapon, then you may still want to get another power charge. Another thing to note is I took Singular Focus and nodes before that. This is for channeling skills, and Singular Focus gives me some physical damage mitigation while channeling. So in some cases, if I don't have dangerous map modes, I can face tank Minotaur, I can face tank Chimera, but it's not really advised. Next, because this is Scion Necromancer and that gives some minion damage, I decided to go with the Spiritual Aid as well to get the benefit from that. If you got points to spare, taking Holy Dominion near the Templar area is also pretty good. Oh, actually one last thing, when I was leveling I actually took the Path of the Shadow as soon as possible before taking Necromancer node. That allowed me to connect to the Shadow starting area and get well, cast speed, life and a bit more crit chance nodes. Also a quick note, a much simpler way to make this build is to go Trickster, not use Might of the Meeks at all. You would have much better cast speed, you would still get skill effect duration, you would still be able to generate power charges while channeling. And frenzy charges as well, but that is of course only on kill. And if you go live ES Hybrid Trickster, you can make it even more tankier, because you can add Energy Leech, which also gives damage, while also having Life Leech from lighting damage. But personally, I have made so many Tricksters this league, I didn't really want to make yet another one. And that is pretty much all. And this is my last build of Synthesis League. I have not decided my starter build for Legion League. I'm still waiting for the patch notes before deciding on my build, but I really want to do the SRS Minion Instability build with the new amulet, or something with zombies and the new gloves, and of course some melee builds. So that's gonna be all. Thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.